Okay, so this is our consciousness unit, Unit 5. This is video 2. This is looking at sleep. It covers pages 176 to 187 in the textbook. The big ideas that will be discussed are sleep stages, brain waves, the theories of why we sleep, what happens when you have a loss of sleep, and the different sleep disorders. Okay, what we do know about sleep. Every person is different on what their body needs to function for sleep. Babies need more than 2/3 of their day, or sleep more than 2/3 of their day, and they need sleep because their body is growing. We do know that the hypothalamus is the control center for our 24-hour rhythm of sleep. So that's the structure of the brain you may need to know. The hypothalamus senses changes in light and darkness and sends neurological messages to your brain and body that puts you to sleep. Okay? One of these neurological transmitters is melatonin. Melatonin is a hormone connected to the wake and sleep cycle that builds up while we sleep. Okay, so you may need to know melatonin is that hormone that helps kind of connect with sleep in terms of how much sleep we may need. What we also know, auditory processing is still alert when we're sleeping, so we're still alert of alarm clocks, and we're still alert of fire alarms. Okay, as sleep overtakes us, different parts of our brain's cortex stops communicating to one another. Okay, so the thought process kind of shuts off. The EEG is usually used to record brain activity. Armand Azunsky and Nathan Clement did a lot of research on sleep in the 1950s at the University of Chicago. They learned a lot about the stages of sleep and the brainwave activity. They found out that we have 5 stages of sleep that we go through in about a 90-minute cycle. Alright, so what is going on with your brain right now? It is hopefully awake and alert. It is during this time strong mental engagement is occurring in the brain, and it exhibits low amplitude and fast irregular beta waves. An awake person is involved in concentration, and they show beta wave activity. Okay, so beta waves occur when you're awake. Then you are beginning to enter sleep stage 1. During early and light sleep, the brain enters a high amplitude, slow, regular waveform called alpha, and some are theta waves. A person who is daydreaming may show this theta wave activity. Okay. During stage 1, you may begin to hallucinate. Hallucinations are sensory experiences that occur without a sensory stimulus. So this is when you may be laying in bed and you feel like you're sleeping, or you feel like you're falling. Okay, and then you catch yourself. That's a hallucination that begins to happen. Okay, it's a sensory experience, even though that's not really a sensory stimulus is not present. You will know the exact moment when you will not know the exact moment when you enter stage 1 of sleep. It only lasts about 5 to 10 minutes, depending on how tired you are. You are easily awakened at this stage, and you will probably insist that you never even fall asleep. Okay, you may report dreamlike sensations of falling or floating weightlessly upon being waken up. Okay, so you can see the brain waves are pretty small in stage 1. Okay, more importantly, they're probably alpha waves. And then as you enter stage 2, you're going to start hitting the theta waves. Stage 2, your brain waves slow down even more, and you're going to continue to have more and more theta waves. Little brain wave, you have little brain wave of bursts of activity, which are called spindles. They're very common at this stage. Sleep talking occurs during this stage. Thought can be found in any other stage as well. The first time you enter this stage, it usually lasts about 20 minutes. Over the course of the night, you'll spend half of your sleep in this stage, so you spend a lot of time in stage 2. Stage 3 and 4, during the deepest sleep, brainwave activity begins to slow down even more. You can see the brainwave activity is getting even larger. There are large amplitudes, and there are slow, what's called delta waves. So this is your deepest stage of sleep with the delta waves, deep delta. During stage 3 and 4, after about 30 minutes of sleep, your brainwaves slow down a lot. Your brainwave cycles are less than 1 cycle per second compared to 15 cycles per second when you first fall asleep, so they're really slow brainwave activity. This stage is called slow wave sleep or delta sleep. The first time you are in this rejuvenation stage, it will last about 30 minutes. Sleepwalking often occurs during these stages. Okay, all of these stages, 1, 2, 3, and 4, are called non-REM, non-rapid eye movement. Okay, and I kind of have a little diagram of how it progresses through. So you go from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, and then you go back to 3 to 2 to what's known as REM. Okay, so you don't go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you want to analyze this chart here, okay, you're going to go to 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, then you stay in 4 for a little while, okay, and you're about an hour of sleep deep. Okay, then you're going to go back to 3 to 2 to 1 to that little red area, which is called REM, rapid eye movement. And then you go back to 2 to 3 to 4. 4 is pretty, you're going to stay there for a little while, and then you're going to go back to 3 to 2 to 1 to REM. Okay, rapid eye movement. Okay. As you can see, REM increasingly gets longer, and stage 4 pretty much becomes obsolete. Okay, stage 5, otherwise known as REM, REM sleep. After reaching the deepest sleep, stage 4, the sleep cycle starts moving backwards towards stage 1. Although still asleep, the brain engages in low amplitude, fast and regular beta waves, much like when they're awake. Okay, so in REM sleep, there is what you experience as beta waves. Okay, a person during this sleep exhibits what's known as rapid eye movements and reports vivid dreams. Sometimes your eyes move around during this stage. That's why it's known as rapid eye movement. Okay, a little bit about REM sleep. Okay, REM sleep is known as rapid eye movement. For the first 10 minutes, your brain waves become rapid, more like those that are nearly awake in stage 1. So you could be experiencing beta and alpha waves. But unlike stage 1, your heart rate rises, your breathing becomes rapid and irregular, and every half of a minute or so, your eyes dart around in momentary bursts of activity behind your closed lids. Okay, a reoccurring sleep stage during which vivid dreams commonly occur. So a lot of the times you're dreaming in this stage. Stage 3 and 4 usually get short, and REM gets longer, as I explained before. Your brain's motor cortex is active during sleep. However, your brainstem blocks its messages, and that's why a lot of times when you're sleeping and in REM stage, your muscles are very relaxed and you don't act out your dreams. Okay, it's also called paradoxical sleep because the muscles of the body are relaxed, but the other body systems are active. REM sleep, when REM sleep starts, usually snoring stops. Okay, so let's just review the brainwave activity that occurs at each stage. Okay, so the alpha stage are usually in stage 1. They're slow waves of relaxed activity, and it could signify even like almost awake brain. Theta waves usually happen more in stage 2. They're slow relaxed waves, and they have little bursts of sleep spindles. So you can see the bursts of activity that start taking place. Delta waves are in stage 3 and 4. They're large, slow waves of deep sleep. Okay, so that's usually stage 3 and 4. Beta waves happen not only in REM sleep, but they also happen when you're fully awake. Okay, and then another vocab word. This isn't a brainwave activity, but hallucinations is another key word you need to know. Those are those false sensory experiences that you experience. Okay, sleep depth is when you are lacking a large amount of sleep. Most adults need sleep of about 8 hours or a little more to feel good and function efficiently. However, most Americans get significantly less than 8 hours of sleep. A century ago, people were getting more sleep. Okay. However, with the invention of light, social media, internet, TV, and shift work, people are staying up later and later and are accumulating this sleep depth. Sleep depth, like it says, is the accumulated hours of lost sleep. So, let's say Monday through Friday, you only get 5 hours of sleep every night. You are lacking 3 hours each of those nights. So 3 times 5 is 15 hours, okay, of lost sleep. You cannot make it up. Okay, you can't fill up the weekend with all that sleep and actually start feeling better. Oftentimes we attribute afternoon dizziness to a big lunch, and that's why we're really tired, but in actuality, a lot of it is due to sleep debt. Okay, similarly, people say they fall asleep when they're bored. In reality, restlessness is the normal response to boredom, not sleepiness. So a lot of times if you're like, I fell asleep in Miss Gavin's class because I'm bored, really if you're bored, you're going to be more restless. Okay, you're going to start fidgeting, doodling. Okay, when you actually start falling asleep, it's a sign that you are sleepy. Okay, and you may have accumulated a lot of sleep debt. Okay, then what's going to hit is sleep deprivation. Okay, you now have all this sleep debt. There's going to be effects of sleep loss. You're going to be fatigued and you're going to have slower reaction time. You're going to have impaired concentration. You're going to have a depressed immune system. You're going to start getting sick. You're going to be greater vulnerability to accidents. The likelihood of being depressed is going to be increased. You're going to have a possibility of increasing weight. Okay, they've done a lot of studies on this. When you're really tired, it increases a hunger hormone, and ghrelin, and decreases leptin to prevent you from being hungry. Okay, and you're going to be grabbing things to keep you awake, such as coffee and pop and snacks. Okay, the more sleep you have, the studies show the longer the life you're going to live. Okay, chronic sleep debt also alters your metabolic and hormonal functioning in ways that mimic aging. Okay, so it could cause you to age faster and could cause memory impairment. And you're going to be emotionally irritable. So think about all the times that you've been really sleep deprived. A lot of these things might start happening, and if you're living on a regular pattern like this, it's going to have long-term effects on you. I thought this was pretty interesting. It's the statistic with sleep deprivation. So in the springtime, the first one, when we spring ahead, we lose an hour of sleep. The green bar graph on the first one is the number of accidents. So the number of accidents is somewhere between probably 2,580 accidents on the Monday before. Okay, the Monday after spring daylight savings time, there is about 2,800 and let's say 50 accidents. So the accidents really increase after we lose an hour of sleep. Okay, so that Monday in the spring after daylight savings times, you're more prone to accidents because now all of a sudden your body's been off kilter. That biological clock has just changed. That entrainment has taken place. And then this was kind of interesting. The Monday in fall, okay, when we get that extra hour of sleep, they see a show of accidents that go down, right? Because we allowed ourselves an extra hour of sleep. Okay, the increase in sleep when one wakes naturally, they will be more alert, more productive, happier, and safer. And there are studies that say we live longer lives. Don't we all wish we could have some more sleep right now? Okay, why do we sleep? Originally, psychologists thought we slept because our neurons disconnected from each other, and we simply just started drifting off. In reality, we do not have a complete answer as to what causes us to sleep. There's 6 different theories out there I'm going to go through of what causes us to sleep. Okay, first one is the restoration theory. Okay, it allows for cell production. It allows us to recuperate. It helps us restore and repair brain tissue. Okay, what they say is when consciousness leaves your house or your brain, the brain construction workers come in to repair it. So restoration, it's providing you a lot of cell reproduction. It's recuperating that brain. So when you're shutting down your brain, it's actually repairing things. Okay. Inactivity theory, this is an old theory that we needed it for survival. So long ago, cave people, okay, people that didn't have lights, right? They didn't know where they were going. So they would do stuff where they would get in harm at nighttime. Okay, animals would attack them. So what they would do was they just leaned against a tree and fell asleep. All right, and then over time our bodies began to adapt to that understanding that we need sleep. Ancestors were safer if they did not move around at night, so over time our bodies have adapted to this need. Okay, energy conservation. This one's not in the book, that's why it's in yellow. Okay, Our bodies are preserving energy that we may need at a later point. So energy conservation, we're conserving the energy. That's why we sleep. Growth process. There's been a scene to the reason why we're sleeping is because growth needs to occur, and they see this with newborn babies. Sleep can help play a role in the growth process. During sleep stage, the pituitary gland releases a growth hormone. As we age, we release less of the growth hormone and spend less time in the deep sleep. So it helps us grow. Okay. Another one is brain plasticity. It helps with memories. So new research shows that we are consolidating our thoughts when we're sleeping. Okay, so staying up all night and cramming for an exam is actually not good. They say it's good to go to bed and have our thoughts processed. Okay, people asked to recall tasks after a night's sleep versus staying up all night. Usually you do better once you process those tasks. And then the last one, okay, which is in your textbook, is creative thinking. They say that the reason why we need sleep is because it allows us to become creative, foster creativity. So think about the different ones that you really think are important, why we need sleep. Okay, some may be a little bit more hitting you a little bit harder to home than others. All right, moving on to sleep disorders. The different sleep disorders are insomnia, narcolepsy, sleep apnea, night terrors versus nightmares, sleepwalking, and sleep paralysis. Okay, insomnia. 1 out of 10 adults deals with insomnia at some point in their life. It's the persistent problem of not being able to fall asleep or stay asleep. Now, this happens every so often to me, like I can't fall asleep. I have so much on my mind. But insomnia would be that it happens night after night after night. Some incidents say that it has a problem with their neurotransmitter of GABA, we talked about before. Tips for reducing insomnia: exercise a lot, so get all that energy out, but don't do it at night. Okay, milk can help stimulate serotonin, which helps facilitate sleep, so drink a glass of milk. Avoid caffeine after certain hours of the day. Relax before bedtime and use dim lights. Don't be exposed to a lot of light because that's going to keep you awake. No TV before bedtime, loud music before bedtime. Do not check the clock because then you're going to be kind of anxious about what time it is. Avoid pills and alcohol. They say it only aggravates the problem of, let's fix it by using pills or alcohol. It actually only causes problems with insomnia. Narcolepsy is when you just kind of fall asleep. You fall into a deep sleep. Sufferers experience periodic overwhelming sleepiness. It only lasts for about 10 minutes that they're asleep, if that, but it can happen at the worst time, driving, okay? Maybe where you are doing your work, like a teacher, all of a sudden she just falls asleep in the middle of her job. That could be something that's really bad. Falls into a period of deep sleep. Orexin is linked to this sleepiness. Okay, you're lacking orexin, which helps with alertness, keeping you alert. Okay, can be treated with medicines and behavioral strategies, but there's no cure. Okay, it worsens when you're your emotions are higher, you're stressed out. You're going to be more willing to kind of fall asleep, and we'll look more into this in class. Sleep apnea. 1 in 20 adults experience sleep apnea. Is where adults stop breathing during their sleep. Apnea means no breaths. It causes a lack of deep sleep because you're not getting a full night's sleep because you're struggling breathing. After an airless minute, there is a decrease in oxygen, and it often arouses them to wake up enough to at least snort in the air. Okay, so it sounds as if they're almost snoring, and then they go into a period where they're not breathing at all, and then they kind of catch their breath. It's going to lead to you being fatigued and depressed. Sleep apnea is also linked to obesity. They're noticing more and more people with obesity are experiencing sleep apnea. They can get a CPAP, which is a machine that blows air into their nose via a nose mask to keep the airway open and uninterrupted. So it kind of provides them with oxygen when they're sleeping. Night terrors versus nightmares. Okay, nightmares is on the bottom. It happens during REM sleep. It's where you have a really vivid experience or dream. Okay, and you wake up with your heart pounding and you feel like it really happened. So you remember them. Okay. Night terrors is a little bit different. It happens during stage 4 when you're in your deep sleep. It's where you sit up or you walk around or you start screaming. Your heart rate doubles almost, and your breathing is really intense. Okay, you experience it's like you're terrified when you're asleep. You start screaming. Usually happens in children. When the people wake up, okay, with having a night terror, they usually don't remember because it happens in that stage 4, but it definitely freaks out parents. Okay, so it usually happens in younger kids, and it is kind of an experience where they don't remember it. Nightmares you usually do remember. Okay, sleepwalking usually happens during stage 3 and 4, not during REM sleep. It usually happens, it runs in families, and it happens usually to young children where they don't remember experiencing this, again, because it's in stage 3 and 4, those deep sleep. Sleep paralysis. Sleep paralysis is when a person wakes and temporarily experiences the inability to move, speak, or react. Their body is still under paralysis. Okay, it's not allowing, it's kind of blocking that ability for your motor cortex to really kind of influence your behavior down the brainstem. It is a transitional state between wakefulness and sleep, and it's characterized by complete muscle atonia, which is muscle weakness. One theory is that it results from a disruptive REM sleep, which is normally induces complete muscle attunement to prevent the sleeper from acting out his or her dreams. So it can be pretty scary. You wake up and you can't move. Okay, so to recap, we went over the sleep basics, some stuff you need to know about sleep. We went over the different stages, the characteristics of the different stages, okay, and the brain waves in the different stages. We talked about the theories, the 6 theories of sleep you need to know. We talked about what could happen to you with sleep deprivation, and the last thing we talked about was sleep disorders.